Clause 2 is accordingly passed. Shall Clause 3 pass?
Pass.
Clause 3 is accordingly passed. Shall Clause 4 pass?
Pass.
Clause 4 is accordingly passed. Shall Clause 5 pass?
Pass.
Clause 5 is accordingly passed. Shall Clause 6 pass?
Pass.
Clause 6 is accordingly passed. Shall the enacting clause pass?
Pass.
The enacting clause is accordingly passed. Shall the title pass?
Pass.
The title is accordingly passed. Shall the bill be reported?
Agreed.
Agreed. The bill shall be reported. Thank you.
Okay, so now we are on to 23 with Minister Lee.
Does the minister responsible for Bill 23 have an opening statement?
I do.
Minister Wiebe.
Well, I have to start by thanking the presenters that came here today. We heard some really difficult stories, some real hardship that folks experienced because we didn't have this kind of legislation in place. And I think I expressed it with one of the last presenters that, it really frustrated me to hear the kinds of meritless lawsuits and legal proceedings that were brought against an individual who was, again, speaking out in the way that they thought was appropriate and important to them, and doing so, again, for in the public interest. And their voice was ultimately silenced. And anyway, it was very touching to hear those stories and to hear those personal experiences. I thought that was a really important way. We know that this is important legislation, but to hear it from folks directly, I thought it was really, really important. I did want to also just note that we do have here in the room two of our last presenters from this evening who've stuck it out right to the end. And I want to give them huge props because these committee hearings can be quite long, and and I think even with just chatting with them in the back, they recognize there's a process to this, and they recognize that process. But even having said that, to stick it out to past 10 o'clock at night on a Wednesday, it's really kudos to you, and thanks for all your work in sticking around, helping to shape the work of the committee and make a difference. And your work really did shape this bill, so I really appreciate it. So just a few words with regards to this Bill 23. We know that these anti-SLAPP lawsuits are often employed to intimidate or suppress the rights of citizens to speak out. And this bill will really put in some important safeguards to their ability to engage in open debates, their ability to hold powerful entities accountable, and to promote transparency. The bill ensures that a defendant may bring a motion to dismiss the suit on the grounds that the proceeding originates from communication made by the defendant on a matter of public interest. And again, that's some of the stories, some of the really important public stories that we've heard that were shared here at committee. If a judge is satisfied then that the defendant has sufficiently proven this, the burden would shift to the plaintiff to prove that the claim shouldn't be dismissed. And no further steps would need to be taken by any party in the proceeding before an administrative tribunal until a decision on the dismissal motion was made. If a proceeding was dismissed under this legislation, a judge may also award the moving party damages if the proceeding was commenced in bad faith or for an improper purpose. A motion to dismiss a SLAPP suit should be addressed in a timely fashion, and as such, the bill includes restrictions on the length of cross-examinations that may be conducted to cut out that potential loophole. The bill strikes a balance between protecting legitimate expression and preventing harm, ensuring that legal actions with substantial merit can proceed while discouraging lawsuits that are solely designed to suppress the public discourse. The proposed legislation is consistent with the model legislation developed by the ULCC and similar legislation passed in Ontario and in British Columbia, and it will discourage the use of litigation as a means to stifle open discussion and debate on matters of public interest. It strengthens the democratic discourse, and it protects those who expose wrongdoing. It protects those who engage in meaningful debate, and protects those who speak truth to power. And it acknowledges that public participation is the cornerstone of a healthy and informed society. Again, I'm so pleased to be able to bring this forward. I'm also really excited that we worked with the community. We've listened to some concerns, and we have some important amendments to bring forward as we move through the bill. Again, I just want to thank the folks who have participated in this democratic process. You've proven that the procedures that we have in Manitoba are worthwhile and useful, and you've really made a difference in protecting people in this province. Again, I'm frustrated that we haven't gotten this done and that it's been delayed, that it was voted down by the previous government. I think I heard from many presenters, put politics aside, let's just get it done. That's my attitude, so that's what I want to do here tonight. Thank you, Honourable Chair.
We thank the minister. Does the critic from the, Mr. Balkin?
Well, thank you very much, and I gave most of my comments during second reading on this bill, and I do think there is room for improvements as we move through. And I think we heard loud and clear from many people tonight about clause 4.2, and I heard the minister state that he's got some amendments to bring forward, so I look forward to what the minister has to bring forward, and look forward to moving forward on this bill. Thank you.
Thank you. During the consideration of a bill, the enacting clause and the title are postponed until all other clauses have been considered in their proper order. Also, if there is agreement from the committee, the chair will call clauses in blocks to conform to pages, with the understanding that we will stop at any particular clause or clauses where members may have comments, questions, or amendments to propose. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Shall clause 1 pass?
Pass.
Clause 1 is accordingly passed. Shall clauses 2 and 3 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 2 and 3 are accordingly passed. Shall clauses 4 through 6 pass?
No.
I hear a no. Shall clause 4 pass?
No.
Minister Wiebe?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I have an amendment. I move that clause 4.2.
Hang on a second.
Thank you.
Minister Wiebe?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I move that clause 4.2 of the bill be struck out.
It has been moved by Minister Wiebe that clause 4(2) of the bill be struck out. The amendment is in order. The floor is open for questions. Minister Wiebe.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honourable Chair. And I'm proposing to strike out subsection 4.2 in this bill, removing an exception for injunctions proceedings. This will further strengthen the bill. It will allow freedom of expression in the public interest to continue unabated, and it will allow those who wish to speak truth to power to do so. It will also bring the bill even closer to into line with the Uniform Law Conference of Canada's model legislation and similar anti-SLAPP legislation, as we heard from many of the presenters, that exists in Ontario, neither of which contain these exceptions for injunctions. Once again, I just want to take a moment to thank the presenters that came to committee tonight, who were unanimous in their calls to amend the bill. And of course, Manitoba Eco Network for their work on this, and many others who came forward with a straightforward recommendation, and it was something that I was happy to look into a little bit further. Understanding that this really just strengthens the bill, gives us more opportunity to use this legislation to protect those who are vulnerable, and we know that it's good legislation. As I said earlier, let's get it done, let's get it passed.
Mr. Balkin?
Well, thank you, Honourable Chair. And I meant to say in my past remarks as well, really have to thank Heather and James that are still here making sure that this bill is moving forward. We agree with this amendment and look forward to moving it forward.
Thank you. Is the committee ready for the question?
Question.
Shall the amendment pass?
Pass.
The amendment is accordingly passed. Shall clause 4 pass as amended?
Pass.
Clause 4 is accordingly passed as amended. Shall clauses 5,
Shall clause 5 pass.
shall clause 5 pass?
Pass.
Clause 5 is accordingly passed. Shall clause 6 pass?
Pass.
Clause 6 is accordingly passed. Shall clauses 7 and 8 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 7 and 8 are accordingly passed. Shall clauses 9 through 11 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 9 through 11 are accordingly passed. Shall clauses 12 through 15 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 12 through 15 are accordingly passed. Shall the enacting clause pass?
Pass.
The enacting clause is accordingly passed. Shall the title pass?
Pass.
The title is accordingly passed. Shall the bill be reported?
Wait,
Agreed.
no.
Oh, sorry, shall the bill be recorded as amended?
Agreed.
The bill shall be reported as amended. Thank you. As soon as I-
Gallery should, just so you know, the gallery shouldn't be talking to us. I'm just telling you that.
Does the minister responsible for Bill 30 have an opening statement?
I do.
Minister Weed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Bill 30 will hold all political parties to a higher standard of ethical campaigning, and it will make it easier and more accessible for Manitobans to vote. And ultimately, it will protect the integrity of our elections. This bill will make amendments to both the Elections Financing Act and the Elections Act to address various issues. New offenses are being created that punish impersonation of elections officials and publishing of false statements. This includes the banning of so-called deepfakes, which are digital tools used to make videos using the likeness of nearly anyone they wish, saying anything they wish, and usually as a malicious tool to spread false information. These have no place in our political campaigns. The bill is also giving voters and party members tools enabling them to hold politicians accountable by requiring parties to establish a code of conduct that includes a complaint procedure for advertising. The divisive and disgraceful ads that were run in the previous campaign that attacked murder victims and their families that the opposition party ran in the last election just underscores the need for this mechanism. This bill also makes it easier and more accessible for Manitobans to vote by expanding advanced voting locations and options, including returning offices on the Sunday and Monday before an election. The legislation lowers the personal contribution limit from its current $6,000 to $5,000 to ensure that more Manitobans can meaningfully participate in the electoral process equally, and to bring us in line with most of other jurisdictions. These changes protect our electoral process, our democracy, and our province, which is critical in this age where democracy faces growing threats. Thank you.
We thank the minister. Does the critic from the official opposition have an opening statement? Mr. Vulcan?
Thank you. Well, thank you, Honorable Chair. And again, I brought a lot of our concerns and comments forward during the second reading of this bill. And a lot of them, what I mentioned in that address that I made in the chamber was that we would have some amendments to bring forward on this bill. And the amendments, I genuinely believe, will strengthen the bill and will help enhance this bill and help both sides move this forward. So I look forward to continuing on with this bill and moving forward through the amendment stages. Thank you.
We thank the member. During the consideration of a bill, the enacting clause and the title are postponed until all other clauses have been considered in their proper order. Also, if there is agreement from the committee, the chair will call clauses in blocks that conform to pages, with the understanding that we will stop at any particular clause or clauses where members may have comments, questions, or amendments to propose. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Shall clauses 1 and 2 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 1 and 2 are accordingly passed. Shall clauses 3 and 4 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 3 and 4 are accordingly passed. Shall clauses 5 through 7 pass?
Pass.
I hear a no. Shall clause 5 pass?
After they're done, handing it out, recognize the member.
Go.
I put it, I wouldn't need it again. You know,
Open.
sometimes.
There's
There it is.
2 different ones? Oh,
Nope.
oh, I have one.
Oh,
Okay.
I was just, I'll take two.
Mr. Balkan?
Thank you, Honourable Chair. I have an amendment to move.
Go ahead, please.
I move that Clause 5, bracket A of the bill be replaced with the following. Bracket A, in clause bracket 1.1, bracket A, by striking out 2018 calendar year and substituting 2026 calendar year and.
It has been moved by Mr. Balkan that Clause 5A of the bill be replaced with the following. A, in Clause 1.1A, by striking out 2018 calendar year and substituting 2026 calendar year and. If the amendment is in order, the floor is open for questions. Mr. Balkan?
Well, thank you, Honourable Chair. Pardon me. This amendment restores inflation indexing for political contribution limits, resetting the cap to at 5,000 and providing for automatic annual adjustments based on the January 2026 Consumer Price Index. Over time, inflation erodes the real value of contribution limits, reducing the ability of Manitobans to support the candidates, parties, and causes that they believe in. Indexing ensures that civic participation remains fair and accessible so that ordinary citizens can continue to play a meaningful role in the democratic process. It also provides consistency with other provisions in provincial law, such as the inflation adjustment for auditor fees. This amendment is practical, fair, and democratic. It ensures that the right of Manitobans to engage politically keeps pace with the cost of living, and that participation in public life remains open to everyone, not just those with greater financial means. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Wiebe?
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Chair, and I don't think the critic from the opposition got the memo. We want to keep big money out of politics, so that's why we're reducing the amount from $6,000 to $5,000, which I take it that from the member opposite's point of view isn't a lot of money, but I would suggest from his constituents' point of view, the average Manitoban's point of view, $5,000 is a lot of money, and not something that everybody has readily available to give away to a political party. Now, we do want to give that opportunity for those Manitobans that can afford it, and that's why we're leaving it at $5,000. But to suggest now that it should go up and up and up, like his predecessor, Brian Pallister, wanted us to do, I think it's the wrong path. I think we want to keep big money out of politics. We want the average Manitoban to have a chance to have their voice heard in our democratic process.
Is the committee ready for the question?
Question?
Shall the amendment pass?
No.
The amendment is accordingly defeated.
Oh, no, are you right to be?
Sorry.
Did you hear?
Sorry,
I heard a no?
did I?
Oh, so sorry, you
Oh,
said that. But
You
we heard a no.
Heard a no, yeah.
I knew I heard it from somewhere. So we have to do this one.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
In my opinion, the nays have it. The amendment is accordingly defeated.
We passed it already.
Yeah, but the
Sorry,
was
my
off.
mic was not on.
Ah,
My apologies. Shall clause 5 pass?
pass.
Clause 5 is accordingly pass. Shall clause
Wait,
6?
Wait. That's what we needed to start at?
The mic wasn't on,
Mic
so
Yeah,
she's just
the mic-
redoing
I'm just
it.
redoing, sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay.
And I'm talking very quickly, sorry. Shall clause 6 pass?
Pass,
Clause 6 is accordingly passed. Shall clause 7 pass?
pass,
Clause 7 is accordingly passed. Shall clauses 8 and 9 pass?
pass,
I hear a no. Shall clause 8 pass?
pass,
Clause 8 is accordingly passed. Shall clause 9 pass?
pass,
I hear a no. Mr. Balkin?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have an amendment.
Mr. Balkin, go ahead.
I move that Clause 9 of the bill be amended by replacing the proposed Section 61.1 of the Elections Financing Act with the following. 61.1 Advertising Code of Ethics, bracket 1, Model Code of Ethics. The CEO must create a model advertising code of ethics and make it available to registered parties. Bracket 2, Code of Ethics of Registered Party. Every registered party must establish and implement a publicly available code of ethics to govern advertising by any of the following or on behalf of any of them with their knowledge and consent. A, the party. B, the constituency association of the party. C, a candidate the party has endorsed. D, a leadership contestant for the party. Bracket 3, complaints procedures required. The advertising code of ethics of a registered party must establish a procedure for the party to accept and address complaints that allege a breach of the code. Bracket 4, referral to commissioner. If a person who makes a complaint is not satisfied with the manner in which the registered party addresses the complaint, the person may request the registered party refer the complaint to the commissioner. The registered party must make the referral within 10 days after receiving the request. Bracket 5, commissioner may dismiss referral. The commissioner may dismiss a referral made under subsection 4 if the commissioner considers it to be frivolous, vexatious, made in bad faith, or unnecessary in the circumstances. Bracket 6, commissioner to issue opinion. If the commissioner does not dismiss a referral under subsection bracket 5, the commissioner must review the complaint and publicly issue an opinion that, bracket A, states whether the registered party breached their advertising code of ethics. B, includes reasons for the opinion. And C, recommends at least one remedial measure if a breach occurred.
Is there leave to have the amendment considered as written?
Agreed.
Agreed. It has been moved by Mr. Balkan that Clause 9 of the bill be amended by replacing the proposed section 61 point...
Dispense.
Dispensed? Dispensed. The amendment is in order. The floor is now open for questions. Mr. Balkan.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chair. This amendment clarifies that that it is the chief electoral officer or the commissioner, rather than political parties themselves, who will be responsible for investigating complaints made under a party's code of ethics. As originally drafted, complaints would go directly to the political party being accused, forcing parties to act as both judge and defendant of their own case. That setup undermines fairness, transparency, and public trust. Transferring this responsibility to Elections Manitoba and the Commissioner ensure that complaints are handled by an independent body that already has the training, mandate, and procedures in place for investigations. It creates consistency with other parts of the Elections Financing Act, which entrust enforcement to neutral authorities rather than partisan organizations. This amendment strengthens the bill by protecting all parties equally and ensuring Manitobans can have confidence that ethics complaints will be handled fairly, objectively, and without political interference or abuse of process. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further, Minister Wiebe?
Yeah, thanks, Honorable Chair. I have to start by saying I hardly think that the party who was just found guilty of one of the worst, the worst ethics violations in Manitoba's history, to think that they would think that they have the moral authority to bring forward any kind of amendment. Former premier fined $18,000. A former deputy premier fined $12,000. A member of their current caucus. So, maybe you could make the argument, oh, well, that was in the past, A current member of their caucus has been fined $10,000, found guilty by the ethics commissioner, and still just sits in caucus, makes these decisions, maybe help draft this amendment? It is quite unbelievable. I would also note that this legislation and this particular clause is specifically designed to stop the kind of campaign that members opposite undertook in the last election. Like, members sitting at this table here ran under the banner and said, this is a great idea, Heather Stephenson. You should attack the victims of murder. You should attack the victims of a serial killer. Like the members opposite sitting right here said, that's a great political strategy. That'll really divide Manitobans and drive votes our way. Or said, hey, trans kids, that's something that gets people scared. Let's attack them. Let's use bunch of coded language to make sure that, all of our base knows just exactly what we're talking about, but we can always, hide behind, the language and say, oh, it wasn't us, or we didn't want to do that. What this particular legislation does, and this clause in particular, is it holds parties to account. And it makes sure that Manitobans have the choice at the ballot box. Now, we were, in the last campaign, it was hard slogging on the doorsteps, right? And I'm looking over at members on our side of the table because, we went door to door and Manitobans heard this divisive language and they heard these, outright fabrications coming out of the opposition. They heard this hateful language. And I got to say, for a lot of them, we needed to have a conversation. We needed to talk it through. We needed to help them understand this is really, really negative, divisive stuff. This isn't who we are as Manitobans. But if we had the tool where political parties had to be transparent and say, yeah, we know what we're doing. This is, we agree with it, or maybe you don't. And if you don't, then you have to have a code of conduct that says you don't. And then you get held to account by the people of Manitoba. I'm also completely baffled that the party of like personal responsibility and, small government and all of these, sort of concepts now says, no, we want a commissioner to come in and have oversight. We want the people of Manitoba to have a voice. We want them to have the say. This is a democracy. We want the people of Manitoba to make a decision. The difference here is that we want to make sure they have all of the information in front of them, that they know exactly who they're voting for. So the next time that the member opposite thinks it's a good idea to go after trans kids, he has to write that in his code of conduct. Yep, it's okay. No problem. No issues there. Go ahead. All our candidates can go and talk about, divide Manitobans and go after vulnerable kids. And then let Manitobans decide. Or maybe now he's turned a new leaf and maybe he's a different man. Well, then he can write that in his code of conduct along with his party, and he can be very explicit about that, and he can make sure that Manitobans see that as well. Whether Manitobans believe him, well, again, that's for them to decide, and they will in the next election. But, I cannot believe that members opposite think that they have any kind of moral authority in this conversation whatsoever. And especially the kind of moral authority that makes them think that they can supersede the will of the people. It's about Manitobans' decision. That's who we're going to listen to. And we're going to give Manitobans transparency and visibility into what those candidates stand for. And we're going to let them decide in the next election. We know they're going to make the right choice.
Thank you. Mr. Balkin?
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. So what I heard during that diatribe, and of course, this minister would follow his leader's will on this. So what I'm hearing is that the NDP government is scared of having reviews done by an independent body. This legislation or this amendment was brought forward so that a neutral body could decide on these, and I'm sure that is the will of Manitobans, rather than having a party be placed in that area where the NDP could sweep something under the table. So this was brought forward to have fairness for all people in Manitoba, all electorate, people that are participating in the election, as well as all parties. So honestly, I'm concerned that this minister is going to vote against an ethics code. It speaks volumes. Thank you.
Anything further? MLA Bariza?
Thank you so much. I have to agree with my colleague, the MLA for Brandon. I cannot believe that the NDP, after going through that diatribe that the Minister of Justice just went through, will not vote for this ethical difference that Manitobans should be asking for. He will not support it. That's what we hear tonight. That's what we heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Minister Cable?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I feel like maybe I need to explain what Minister Wiebe just laid out, which was that we are putting forward legislation that will force transparency, that will force people to know exactly who they're voting for. We don't need very trusted, reputable civil servants to be policing what you do. We need Manitobans to understand exactly who you are when they vote. And this legislation will ensure that if the things that myself and my sister Bernadette had to go door to door to door to explain to people what is on those billboards and explain to my own child what those billboards meant, that next time you're going to be accountable, immediately accountable. And if that's not clear in the legislation, then maybe we haven't been clear on the impact of those decisions. And the folks that stand on your side of the house and duck and say that wasn't me, that was somebody else, I'm sorry, Chair. Won't be allowed to do that again, Madam Chair. They won't be able to hide next time and say that it wasn't their decision, because it will be open and transparent and free for everybody to see online exactly what their intent was. So, Madam Chair, I emphatically will support this bill. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, Minister. Mr. Balkan?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make a comment on the member's last statement. Trusted public officials are the example in many, many legislations, including, and I'll bring it up because I'm very familiar with it, the police services. And there's an independent review agency called the Independent Investigation Unit of Manitoba that looks into police wrongdoing. And that is because people don't want to have police investigating themselves. That's just one example of many that are legislated. And it's important that a neutral party makes those decisions. And that's why it's more transparent and it's more open for Manitobans. And it concerns me that your party is afraid of that transparency.
Thank you, Mr. Balkan. If the amendment is in order, oh, no, sorry, is the committee ready for the question? Question. Shall the amendment pass?
No.
I hear a no. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
In my opinion, the nays have it. The amendment is accordingly defeated.
Mr. Balkan?
Mr. Balkan?
A recorded vote.
A recorded vote has been requested. All those in favor, please raise their hands.
1, 2.
All those opposed, please raise their hands.
1, 2, 3.
The amendment is accordingly defeated. Shall Clause 9 pass?
Pass.
Clause 9 is accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 10 and 11 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 10 and 11 are accordingly passed. Shall Clause 12 pass?
Pass.
Clause 12 is accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 13 through 15 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 13 through 15 are accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 16 through 20 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 16 through 20 are accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 21 through 23 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 21 through 23 are accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 24 through 28 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 24 through 28 are accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 29 and 30 pass?
Pass.
I hear a no. Shall Clause 29 pass?
Pass.
Clause 29 is accordingly passed. Shall Clause 30 pass?
Pass.
I hear a no.
Thank you much.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Okay.
Mr. Balkan?
Mr. Balkan.
Yes, I have an amendment to move.
Mr. Balkan?
Thank you. I move that Clause 30 of the bill be amended in the proposed section 182.1 of the Elections Act by adding if they make, distribute, or publish the material or information knowing it is false or misleading, or having a reckless disregard as to whether it is false or misleading at the end.
It has been moved by Mr. Balkin that Clause 30 of the bill be amended in the proposed Section 182.1 of the Elections Act by adding, if they make, distribute, or publish the material or information knowing it is false or misleading, or having a reckless disregard as to whether it is false or misleading at the end. The amendment is in order. The floor is open for questions. Mr. Balkin.
Well, thank you, Honorable Chair. This amendment adds a knowledge and intent requirement to the offense of publishing or distributing false or misleading election information. As written, the original provision could unintentionally penalize campaign volunteers or workers who unknowingly distribute inaccurate material prepared by others. For example, a volunteer dropping off flyers could mistakenly deliver materials to both sides of a street, not realizing that one side belongs to a different polling division with a separate voting location. That volunteer would have no knowledge that the information that they were handing out was incorrect, yet they could still be found in violation of the law. This amendment ensures that only those who act knowingly or recklessly are liable. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Minister Weed.
Yeah, well, thank you very much, Honorable Chair. I think there's a fundamental misunderstanding of the bill by the opposition. This, of course, is completely a fact-based clause, and really the intent is not necessary in this case. You know, look, we are getting barraged by the potential for misinformation, and working with Elections Manitoba, they've been very clear that they need the support to make sure that that misinformation doesn't impact our elections. They're looking for all the tools that they can get. That's what this is about. We're going to pass this. We're going to continue to work with Elections Manitoba, and we're going to make sure that we stop this misinformation.
Anything further? Is the committee ready for the question?
Question?
Shall the amendment pass?
No.
The amendment, I hear,
Nope.
Yeah, you heard it.
all right. All those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay.
Nay.
In my opinion, the nays have it. The amendment is accordingly defeated. Shall Clause 30 pass?
Pass.
Clause 30 is accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 31 and 32 pass?
Pass.
Clause 31 and 32 are accordingly passed. Shall Clause 33 pass?
Pass.
Clause 33 is accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 34 through 39 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 34 through 39 are accordingly passed. Shall Clauses 40 and 41 pass?
Pass.
Clauses 40 and 41 are accordingly passed. Shall the enacting clause pass?
Pass.
The enacting clause is accordingly passed. Shall the title pass?
Pass.
The title is accordingly passed.
Oh, nope. This one.
Shall the bill be reported?
Agreed.
Agreed. The bill shall be reported.
Hit that gavel. No.
The hour being 11:17, what is the will of the committee?
Committee rise.
Committee rise.
Give her a
Good
bang.
job, you
There we go.
guys. Well done.